Now, Giles Kenningham, founder of the Trafalgar strategy, former head of political press to Prime Minister David Cameron. Let's be realistic here tonight. What is a number that secures Boris Johnson's position going forward, as opposed to keeps him on the rocks?
I don't know, Richard, if any number actually secures his future, because the very fact we are here now in this position, to some extent, some people may argue, has fatally undermined his authority. Now, remember, no prime minister has really ever fully recovered from one of these votes. Theresa May faced a vote of no confidence in 2018. She was gone 6 months later. Margaret Thatcher faced one. She was gone within weeks. John Major faced one, he won, he limped on and then got absolutely crushed at the 97 election. So actually, I think it's pretty difficult. Now, if, let's say, hypothetically, the numbers stay around 54, 55, which was what was needed to get to trigger this vote, then maybe he's okay. But, as soon as you get up into numbers of 80, 90, you've got a party, you've got almost a third of your party, which is ungovernable, which doesn't want you there. That is unsustainable, and we know divided parties don't win elections. And remember, you've still got some very problematic issues coming down the line. You've got two by-elections, one in Wakefield, which the Tories are expected to lose in the so-called Red Wall, and one in Tiverton in the southwest, which is a key Blue Wall battleground. Now, if they lose that, I think you could see a fresh round of bloodletting, even if Boris Johnson does survive tonight's vote. And I do think he will win tonight, but that's really going to be a hollow victory.
And I'm just looking at the content of the letter from Jesse Norman, who was an ally, a former ally, now writing in his letter asking for a vote. He says, Boris Johnson had presided over a culture of casual law breaking. But there's the other issue as well, which is important, which is the Northern Ireland Protocol as part of the Brexit and Northern Ireland Agreement. Now, the cavalier way, as seen by some, that they are about to trounce that treaty is also giving cause for concern about his premiership.
Of course, and you put your finger on that. The fact people are speaking so openly, so publicly, without caveats, criticising his premiership shows that his authority has effectively gone, that discipline has broken down. You have a divided party. Now, bear in mind that the public polls are also showing that Labour in the lead, that all this rule breaking during COVID has cut through and is going to be devastating to Boris at the polls. A lot of people will be making a calculation that, look, the Tory brand at the moment is tainted. How do we get over that? We get over that by removing him and we neutralise the problem. If I was Labour, I would be thinking, careful what you wish for here. You want Boris Johnson to survive, but damaged.
And also, which I think is appropriate to just mention, the Prime Minister had to apologise, didn't he, to Her Majesty the Queen for the party that took place, the leaving party that took place at number 10, on the eve, of course, of the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral.
Yeah, of course. And the issue for Boris here is that this wasn't just a one-off. This was a catalogue of events which suggests a systematic pattern of rule breaking, which makes it even harder to defend. A lot of people, you speak to a lot of MPs, and I think they think the environment would be a lot more forgiving if at the start he'd held his hands up and said, look, yeah, we got this wrong, we broke the law, I'm really sorry, but as ever, what's made it worse has been the cover-up and the half-truths afterwards.
So let's put it bluntly, though, are Tory MPs now against exactly the qualities that they all loved about Boris Johnson when he was driving them towards Brexit and electoral victory, and that swashbuckling, daredevil, winner-takes-all mentality has now become a liability for them?
Well, yeah, let's look at this in reality. The Tory party, the Tory backbenchers, the MPs were never in love with Boris Johnson. It was a very transactional relationship. In a context of the backdrop of a Jeremy Corbyn Labour Party in which they saw he could secure their seat and romp home. He delivered that, but a lot has changed in 3 years. You've got a new Labour leader now. Boris has had almost 3 years in power, in which there have been a number of mistakes, and they're also looking at the polling now, and they're saying, well, the polling's showing you're going to lose me my marginal seat, therefore I'm not going to vote for you. The polling is showing that the breaking of our own lockdown rules, which he brought in, has cut through to the public, and they're not going to forget about it, and it's going to be devastating at the polls. So, yeah, once again, I don't think there was any enduring love for him. It was a very transactional relationship, and they're looking at that transaction saying, you know what, you served your purpose, but actually now, you might well cost me my seat at the next elections, trying for someone else to come to the floor.
I think you just summed it up, Giles, in that view of you've served your purpose, it's time. All right, so thank you, Giles Kenningham, joining me.